Hi guys and welcome back. Today I'm working on this little watercolor painting as usual, but I wanted to talk a bit about finding inspiration and giving yourself challenges to be able to create artwork that you're inspired by. So this is a challenge that I am always struggling with. I'm always trying to figure out something that will make me excited to create a painting, and really I feel like that's something that I'm primarily focusing on right now because it's one of the big things that I'm trying to work through and figure out solutions for, because there's a lot of times where I want to make art, but nothing that pops into my head is inspiring me. So today I just want to talk about a little thing that does seem to help me to get excited about making some artwork. So maybe it's something that can give you some ideas to think through, something to jump off of. But I have known for a while now that having challenges are usually really helpful for me when it comes to creating artwork and creating excitement for me to figure out a solution for that challenge. I have always really thrived with assignments in class, that kind of thing. I have a much harder time when it comes to just sitting on my own trying to make art with no bounds whatsoever and then having it be something that I'm excited about. So that is my challenge. But for assignments where it's certain constraints that I have to work around, that really just gets me motivated to figure things out. And the past couple of pieces that I've done, I've given myself, and this is very simple, so it doesn't have to be some huge like assignment for yourself or something really complex or hard to work through, but the little prompt that I gave myself over the last couple of pieces is just to make artwork that feels festive or is inspired from a specific little thing and little nugget about the holiday season. So the first one that I did, I think it was last video, it was very snow inspired. It was snowing that day and I wanted to achieve that kind of chilly feeling as well as that color palette. And yeah, I've really enjoyed this. It just helps me to feel a little bit more connected with the piece. And even though, like I said, this is an extremely simple thing, it's not like it was really challenging to make something work, but because I phrased it in a way in my mind that it was this constraint that I had to work around and figure it out, it felt really exciting to work on it, to get to a final product and make it work. So for this one, I just continued on with the color palette theme. I was actually working on 3 little pieces for my patrons on Patreon, but anyways, I had 3 of them, and one of them had both green and red on it, and then one piece was primarily green, and I chose the other one to be primarily red. So that's how I kind of broke it up in my head as I was working on it. I wanted there to be a certain distribution of holiday colors, so this was the red one. By the time I got to the end, though, with the little motifs and everything, it actually looks a little bit more like a Valentine's piece, but I'm okay with that. I don't think that it really had to be something that felt festive necessarily, because in the end it was something that got me excited to work on it. And in that way, it was a successful thing. I also chose the secondary color in this piece to be white. I actually really love the color palette of red and white together anyways, but it feels like a candy cane. I don't know what it is about this color palette either, because it's kind of opposite on both sides of my usual favorite colors. I usually prefer cool colors, and I love black, the color. So I don't know. I do really love red and white, though. I think it's just really striking and sharp. So it was fun to be able to combine those colors and use them again, and also know that at least for me it was representing a candy cane. I think that's also one of the things that I do really enjoy about having these kind of little challenges, I guess you could call them, is that in the end I have a little bit more of a story behind it, and it these little connections that I thought about as I was making it, so it feels more alive, I guess. Like it has more meaning to it and purpose to it, even if it is still a very simple piece. It just feels more connected to myself and to the process of breaking through ideas and figuring something out. But there are so many ways that you could take this specific idea and really spread out and create a lot of different concepts with it. With the idea of just working off of, say, Christmas time, holiday time inspirations, I could be creating artwork that has a specific feel, an emotion that I've felt before, or an environment, and that kind of feeling that you get from a certain situation, and then finding a way to apply that to a painting. So in the end, it doesn't look like a super festive piece, but it has that connection, that tie to it that I worked through. I think that this is something that I think I'd like to continue through the rest of the month. Not strictly, but I enjoy it. So I think finding new ways to adapt to that so that it's not just the most basic, simple approach like these that I worked on that have just the color palette. I can branch off into, like I said, emotions and feelings and that kind of a thing where it becomes something a little bit bigger. So yeah, I think that it's really kind of easy to find ways to give yourself these little challenges that really at the heart of it are not that challenging, but it can give you new constraints to work around. And I've heard this kind of concept in different ways, but the idea that the more restrictions you have when you're creating a piece, the more creative you are when you're making it. And I definitely agree with that, with me personally. When I sit down to create a painting and I have completely no bounds to it, I feel uninspired and uninterested in a lot of cases because I can do anything, then it ends up just not being something really connecting with me. But when it's something where I have to make it work with a certain prompt, then it gets me so excited to think about, well, what are the possibilities? How can I incorporate certain elements into this new design element? And it just really pushes off into something new and exciting. And that can be done with the concept, with the medium, with all sorts of things, or a combination of those. But like I said, I've really been struggling with this for a while now, where I've felt pretty disconnected and disinterested with a lot of my work. So being able to figure out how my own mind works and what solutions actually do work for me is really empowering, to be able to figure out how to make the best work that I can, how to feel the most excited for the most amount of pieces that I can be. I've been thinking a bit about more how I can expand to giving myself this like restraint, so that it's something that I'm really excited about, but it's also still fitting within my theme, my goals artistically. And I've seen other people do this in art, but also in other things, where you can take different prompt ideas and put them in a jar and then just randomly draw them out. And I've been thinking about that a little bit more, where I can write down different words based on moods, feelings, actual things, objects, types of characters, and then when I'm really stuck, I can give myself the challenge of pulling out a couple of them and then creating a piece specifically around those. And I do think that would be really, really fun. And if it's the perfect combination, it could be something that could turn into a piece that I'm really excited about working on, excited about putting more time into. So yeah, I think that might be a good way to help trick my brain into working in that kind of a way. I think going on into the rest of the month, I might want to shift over a little bit and work on maybe things that are winter inspired. I've always loved winter time. There's just something really beautiful about the snow and the ice and the cold. So yeah, that might be the next little inspiration that I'm trying to work from. But I would love to hear from you guys. What little tricks do you have that help you stay inspired or excited about working on art? Do you actually prefer not having any restraints at all? Do you like having them like you would in an assignment? I don't know. I would love to hear what your work process is like that. And that's about it for today. I do have this original painting available at my shop. There's a link right at the top of the description below. I also have a link to my Patreon, and I do want to give a huge thank you to all of my patrons. You guys are incredible and amazing, and I really appreciate all the support that you give me. You help me to be able to make these videos and make art every day, so thank you for that. And yeah, I'll be back next week with another art video, so I'll see you guys then.